Jesus explained why some people attract financial blessings and others stay stuck in the same financial pressure for years. And if you've ever wondered why some people seem to grow financially no matter the economy while others work harder and still struggle, this message will challenge you at a deeper level than you expect. Because Jesus never described financial blessing as random. He described patterns, principles, and responsibility, not as punishment, not as favoritism, but as alignment between what a person carries internally and how they handle what is already in their hands. Most people miss this completely. They think financial blessing is something that suddenly appears when prayers are strong enough or when opportunity finally shows up. But in reality, Jesus pointed again and again to something else. What you already have is the training ground for what you are asking for next. This is where everything begins. One of the clearest principles Jesus taught is stewardship. In simple terms, it means management of what has already been given. In the teaching of the talents, the focus was never on how much each servant started with. The focus was on what they did with it. The ones who handled small responsibility with discipline were given more, not because they were lucky, but because they were proven. And this reveals something uncomfortable. Financial blessings often do not increase in environments where responsibility is ignored. They increase where faithfulness is consistent. Think about real life. Someone earning a small income but managing it with clarity. They track where it goes. They avoid unnecessary debt. They make intentional decisions instead of emotional ones. Over time, their financial stability grows. Not instantly, but steadily. Now compare that to someone constantly waiting for a bigger breakthrough but mismanaging what they already have. The pattern repeats. Income comes in, then disappears, and nothing builds. And here is the part most people never want to accept. It is not always about earning more. It is about becoming someone who can hold more without collapsing under it. But there is another layer Jesus emphasized that connects directly to why financial blessings seem to flow towards certain people. Because stewardship is only the beginning. And what comes next is even more revealing. Because Jesus didn't only talk about stewardship. He also revealed another principle that quietly shapes whether financial blessings expand or shrink in a person's life. And this principle is where most people unintentionally block their own growth. It is how you handle what you cannot keep. In several teachings, Jesus connects giving, releasing, and receiving into one continuous cycle, not as a transaction, but as a reflection of trust. Because the moment you start holding everything tightly out of fear, something shifts internally. And that shift affects every financial decision you make. People think holding on to money creates security, but often it creates pressure. Anxiety increases. Decisions become reactive, and instead of building, people start surviving. But Jesus pointed to a different pattern. A life that understands release is not loss, it is movement. When a person learns to give wisely, even when resources feel limited, something changes in their mindset. Fear begins to lose control. And where fear decreases, clarity increases. This is why in real life, people who learn generosity in small ways often begin to see unexpected doors open. Not because giving is a formula for instant wealth, but because it reshapes how they relate to scarcity. They stop living as if everything is about to disappear, and that changes how they think, how they plan, how they act in business, how they see opportunities others ignore. Now here is something subtle that most people miss. Financial blessings are not only connected to what you keep, they are also connected to what you are willing to release without fear controlling you. But there is still another principle Jesus warned about that quietly determines whether a person can even handle financial growth when it arrives. And this one has nothing to do with income at all. It has everything to do with what controls your attention. Jesus also warned about something most people never connect to financial blessings. It is not income. It is not opportunity. It is not even effort. It is divided loyalty. He described the tension between serving God and serving money. And while many people hear that as a purely spiritual idea, it is also deeply practical in how a person lives, decides, and reacts under pressure. Because when money becomes the highest source of security, fear quietly takes control. And when fear is in control, even good opportunities start to look risky. People hesitate too long. or rush too fast. They chase income instead of building value. They make decisions based on pressure instead of direction. But when money is put back into its proper place as a tool instead of a master, something stabilizes internally. The mind becomes clearer. The emotions settle. And long-term thinking becomes possible again. And this is where financial blessings start to behave differently in a person's life. Not because circumstances instantly change, but because the person changes how they respond to circumstances. Jesus also emphasized something even more hidden than that: faithfulness in unseen places. What you do when no one is watching. The small decisions that never get attention. The habits that feel too ordinary to matter. These are often the exact places where financial character is formed. Honesty in small transactions. Consistency in work when there is no applause. Integrity when cutting corners would be easier. These decisions seem invisible in the moment, but over time they become visible results. And here is what happens gradually. Financial blessings tend to follow consistency more than intensity, not bursts of effort, not emotional decisions, but steady alignment over time. And this is where the shift becomes real. People stop thinking like someone trying to survive day by day, and start thinking like someone building systems that can hold growth. But let's make this real with a story. A man once worked in a small repair shop. He was paid just enough to get by. For years he prayed for financial blessings, but nothing seemed to change. He felt stuck, invisible, overlooked. Then something small shifted. He noticed that his employer trusted him with simple tasks others ignored. Organizing tools, fixing minor issues, keeping things in order. At first he treated them like background work, but then he started treating them differently. He became precise, reliable, careful. He improved small systems without being asked. He reduced waste, helped customers faster, solved problems quietly. Slowly, the entire shop began to improve, and people noticed. His responsibilities increased, trust increased. Eventually, he was managing operations. Then he moved into a profit-sharing role. Nothing about his situation changed overnight, but everything changed through consistency and small responsibility. That is how financial blessings often work, not through sudden moments, but through gradual trust being built over time. And when you look back, the breakthrough rarely feels like luck. It feels like alignment finally catching up with who you became. So when Jesus explained financial blessings, he was not describing randomness. He was describing a pattern of responsibility, mindset, and trust working together. And now it becomes personal. Where in your life are you asking for more but resisting the responsibility already in front of you? Because the answer to that question might explain more about your financial situation than anything else.